welcome to another episode of Hour of Healing. Friends, we are so grateful and thankful to God that you are here. You know, it's been an honor and a privilege so far this year with the topics that by God's grace we've been discussing. For those of you who have been following us throughout season one, we have our dear brother of the show, Dr. Bright Ajay, with us today. Friends, you know that he is a friend of the show. He is a man of God. He has his doctorate in physical therapy and also works as a real estate agent. Right now, he resides with his two beautiful daughters and wife in Texas. Um, and he has been all about impacting people's lives. Friends, you meet Bright, you talk with Bright, and his whole life is about impact. Because at the end of the day, dear friends, if you do not make an impact, what is the essence of your life? So we are so blessed, or we were so blessed by the knowledge and the wisdom that Bright, through the grace of God, was able to share with us in the various episodes that he joined us in season one. And we are looking forward to what we will be talking about today. The topic for discussion, dear friends, is evaluating opportunities. Evaluating opportunities. Thank you so much, Dr. Bright. Again, we ended our previous conversation talking about things that impact the success of opportunities. And so you had so eloquently listed for us a few things, some of the virtues that help with the success of opportunities. You had talked about humility, gratitude, respect, patience being very key or vital to the success of opportunities. Now, Dr. Bright, the next question I have for you is what do we do when we have missed opportunities? Yes, we have all been there. We have all had that opportunity that we thought was the greatest opportunity we were waiting for, but somehow, some way we missed it. What do we do when you
Right,
have missed that opportunity? Can you help us on that?
right. I think sometimes we miss those opportunities probably because we were not quite prepared.
Mm,
And
mm,
so when it came around, we didn't know how to take full advantage of it. And sometimes the preparation may be in terms of, for instance, like research.
mm,
We didn't know much about it because we didn't know much about what we brought to the table. You
mm,
know, most opportunities, and as much as an opportunity, is also a risk,
mm,
right? There's a part to that. And I think that's why some opportunities or a lot of them become missed opportunities because the risk associated with them. And
Wow.
the way we minimize some of those risks is our preparation. Now, it
Correct.
doesn't guarantee success necessarily, but the probability is more in our favor. And so I think, yes, sometimes when we miss opportunities, again, like we go back to drum board and ask ourselves, why did that happen?
Mm, mm,
Why did that happen? Because sometimes it's the approach. We may be looking for that big thing. So that small opportunity that may have opened that door to that big thing we
mm,
missed. It's being alert. Touched on it a little bit. Sometimes in our mindset of how we expect the opportunity to be presented and the way it actually is presented might be different.
mm,
And so
mm.
being alert is very, very important. It may be in
Absolutely.
a formal way, an informal way, a casual way. You have to be alert to be able to realize and recognize when that is an opportunity. I'll use scripture. One of my favorite scriptures in the Bible is when the lady at the well met Christ.
Mm, mm,
I always keep that picture at the back of my mind, or basically think about it, because here she was with the Messiah,
mm,
and she
mm,
was asking, where was he? How can I meet him?
mm,
It's an opportunity. You may have that opportunity wide in your face
mm.
and miss it.
Wow.
And so my prayer always has been, Lord, please do not let that happen to me. But
Mm,
that's because you have to be prepared. How's that preparation? The knowledge, the work you put in, studying,
mm,
investing in yourself, so that when that comes, you're ready, you're alert. You don't miss that boat. So when it happens before, I think it's all about the lessons from it. Don't beat yourself up. Like you said, it happens to all of us.
mm,
It happens to every one of us. But the key is, as much as you try to learn from it and see, okay, how do I make sure I don't repeat that again? But it is a risk. And so you have to get yourself prepared in the sense that there are times to take risk, and there may be times where you don't. And it's all about the preparation you've made will give you the yes or no in terms of taking that risk.
Wow. So we will go back to what we can do once we have missed that opportunity. But I think you make a very profound statement there with the story of the lady at the well,
Yep,
because here she was asking
correct,
about the Messiah, looking for the
correct,
Messiah when the Messiah was
correct,
right in front of
right,
her.
correct,
And the very moment you said that, what came to my mind was, if you don't know, or if you
correct.
can't picture what the answer to a prayer will look like, how would
Correct.
you know when the
You miss
prayer
it.
is answered?
You miss it. You'll be right there. You miss it. One of the simple or typical examples a lot of people, forgive me for this, but a lot of females might be able to identify, especially our part of the world would have been when they're looking for a husband,
Mm,
right? They pray and pray and pray for a husband, but in their mind, they may not necessarily know. The Bible says a good wife who can find. But let's say we flip it around, the husband. They talk about all the material things. Is he
mm-hmm,
tall? Is he a six pack? Is he this? They might miss some of those values. Is he humble?
mm,
You know,
mm.
is he hardworking? And so they might have that person right next to them who has
Wow.
all those values, yet because of what they're looking for,
Mm.
they miss that. And they've been praying this whole time.
Wow.
Because he
Wow.
may not be pretty enough in the eyes of that person. And so I always keep that scripture at the back of my mind because I think that's the saddest one can be.
Wow.
When you're asking for something and the solution and the answer is right in front
In
of you,
front of you.
yeah, you can't tell it is. So yeah,
So,
may God
so
help
I'll
us.
go back to um my question, because I think that certainly will be helpful to some of our listeners, because knowing that the chances of us missing an opportunity is there. Once we have missed that opportunity, what do we do? Is there a way out,
Well,
a reset button?
you prepare for the next opportunity. I mean, depending on
Absolutely.
what the opportunity was, you
Mm,
might be able to go back to the drawing board. But the whole point of an opportunity, in a true sense, is chance. So typically, the way I would see it, if you didn't take it, it's gone.
mm,
It's time bound. It's time sensitive.
mm,
But it
mm.
doesn't mean another one will not come around the corner.
That's true. That's
That's
true.
that's the way I see it. And especially as a believer, it says all things work together for good,
Mm,
right? So sometimes there may be a lesson to have been learned from even that missed opportunity. Again, like we talked about, why did you miss that? Maybe your preparation was not up to date yet. And if it was, I am one of those, I strongly believe if a door is shut in front of you, that means the Lord in his own mind or provision did not want you to enter that.
mm, mm.
And so when it's missed, it's life's not over.
Wow. Wow.
It's not over. You have to believe there will be a bigger and better and greater one. But the question will be, are you ready when that happens?
Mm.
So you don't miss that one too. And so I think once an opportunity, you just keep plugging away. You just keep, because there's bound to be another one come around the corner. It may not come
Absolutely.
the time you expect it. That's why you have to be vigilant.
Mm.
When the 10 virgins, when they went away waiting for the groom, 5 were prepared, but 5 were not quite prepared as they thought they were.
Mm.
And so when the groom did not come the time they expected, guess what happened? By the time they came, the door was shut.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with a missed opportunity. You miss it, you missed one before. I mean, you go through the process where you debrief yourself. Why and how did that happen?
Mm.
And what steps can you take to mitigate that? And then prepare yourself for the next opportunity. Because if there was only one opportunity that ever came around and missed it, then none of us will make it.
Mm.
No. There will bound to be the next one to come. The question is, are you going to be able to fully take advantage of it?
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, dear listeners, as you heard from Dr. J, again, we are talking about evaluating opportunities in life. And I can't help but talk about a few things that he mentioned to us right now. And one key thing he mentioned is opportunities are time bound. Opportunities are time bound. He also did mention closed doors, and that goes to one of the statements I had made earlier. Because like I said, I see opportunities as doors in life. Every threshold or every platform that you will climb in life has a door or an access point. And so, in a way, we can picture our conversation. Preparation is to give you the key that will give you access or legal access to that door. Um, and so I think that's very profound, what Dr. J is sharing with us. But one of the things also that Dr. Bright, I want to ask or bring up is the idea that sometimes, even though we are preparing, we are evaluating opportunities, we don't take the time, and I think you mentioned this already, we don't take the time to consider the door that we are opening, the opportunity that we are jumping into. For instance, some time ago, I was offered a leadership position, which for anyone at that time will say, oh, this is a great opportunity. I get to
Right.
be a leader. I get to be a boss.
Right.
You can say all the things that Christians will use to justify
Right.
opportunities. I was
Right.
born for this. It's an
Right.
open door.
Right.
But I sat down, I thought about the opportunity, and it wasn't that I cannot perform, but I
Right.
realized that if I take that position, because of my experience at the time that this opportunity is offered me, it might not benefit the people that I will be leading. And so I had to turn it down. And I remember I was talking to a friend about it, and he said, "You're crazy. You get a leadership position and you turn it
Right.
down." And
Right.
I couldn't understand why he thought it was too
Right.
problematic for me to
Right.
turn down the opportunity. So, can you help us on this as well?
Well, I think it goes back to the first point of the conversation we had, right? Because you had certain goals and certain purpose you wanted to
Mm,
achieve being in that position.
mm, mm.
They may have a different mindset for that.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
you had a certain level of service and impact you were hoping. You understood the responsibility came, not the title
Mm,
per se. Because in your mind, the way you were going to make an impact wasn't just carrying the title around.
mm,
It was actually the work you were going to be doing and the impact on the people you'll be leading. And so,
mm,
it takes a lot of courage to do what you did,
mm,
in the sense that when you know the timing is not right for you. One of the things that we probably hadn't touched on much is sometimes you might open or step into the opportunity and it can be your undoing. Because
yes.
if you're not ready for it,
Mm,
you might lose all the confidence and everything else that came with it. So I think, to your credit, a key part of it is, at the end of the day, what do I hope to achieve?
mm,
That's
mm.
key. For somebody, it might be a lot of money.
True.
For somebody, it might be just, the greatest satisfaction is knowing they influence lives in a certain way.
Wow.
And so it's all about what that individual aims and hopes to get out of it.
Mm,
To your point, that sometimes, a couple of times, where whether through church or center, there's, oh, you want to do this? No, 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 I don't want to, because I know what their reason and their goal for offering that, and what I would want to achieve and doing that, they don't
mm,
meet, and they may not be willing or patient enough for you to be able to explain or bring them up, to
mm,
what you're trying to achieve. And
mm.
so, in that sense, that opportunity is not going to work the way you hope it would.
Wow.
And so, no, I think it's very important because people are different. Somebody might see an opportunity. I just want 10 cars and 5 houses.
Mm,
You
mm.
know, to them, that's what it's about. And so, what their goal and what your goal, what you're hoping, the purpose you're hoping to get out of it is very different. And that's why it's good to seek counsel. But at the end of the day, we are the ones that know what do we define as success, which you touched on before.
Mm, mm.
What at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, what makes you think, oh, I was very successful in this? I
Wow.
may have earned the company a lot of money, but you know what? Everybody hates me.
Yeah.
Somebody likes that. They're like, for them, because for them it was all about the money.
Mm,
But there may be
mm.
somebody else who that has nothing to do with it, and
Wow.
their success is knowing how many lives they shaped. Because nobody can take that away from them.
Wow.
Some people, their whole goal is to mentor people. So for
Mm.
such a person, any opportunity, you go put them in a certain position, it has to tie into that. Will they have the freedom to be able to mold and mentor
Wow.
those people versus Oh yeah, no, I just fire people. I just write people up. We don't have room to coach people. So it all comes back down to what the individual is trying to, because else sometimes, yeah, you might step in a certain door and it actually might be your undoing.
It will be again. Even prisons do have
Right.
doors, and nobody
Right.
enters the prison by jumping a window. Everybody enters the prison by going through a door. Thank you so much, Dr. Bright. I want to kind of get us on the tail end of our conversation today by asking two questions. The first one really is we've talked a lot about reevaluating and things of that nature. Can there be a situation where a person has gone through all these things, but still an opportunity not just going the way they planned? And if so, what do we do at that time? Do we just say, okay, that's it, shut the door, walk out, go sit and cry, or eat all the ice cream you want? Or what do we do if
Right.
that should happen?
Well, they say patience is a virtue. But the other part I would say to that is that's why we had mentioned earlier to have somebody to hold us accountable. In the sense that that same person also can be somebody you bounce ideas off.
Mm,
You know, unfortunately, there's not going to be only one opportunity. But yeah, sometimes some opportunities will be harder to come by. So sometimes, it's all about also recognizing the struggle, the challenge there, and how you improve yourself to be able to open up more avenues for yourself.
mm,
But put it this way, some of the great men in this country, when opportunities could not come by for themselves, what did they do? They made one for themselves.
mm, mm.
I mean, look at you. There's no reason really to be doing this program per se, right? Because thankfully, by God's grace, now you have a good job, you have a
Mm,
wife and kids, you're fine. You're set. In the eyes of the world, you're
mm,
fine.
mm,
But because of what drives you, because of what you want to do, you created an opportunity for yourself to be able
mm.
to impact and do this.
Wow.
And so sometimes when it's all said and done, I think so far as you've done your homework and the convictions are right, sometimes it's all about taking that bull by the horn and getting out there. Doesn't mean you will not face roadblocks.
Mm,
No. But I think so far as you've put the work in and done your homework to a degree, you keep persevering.
mm,
You keep
mm.
persevering and
Absolutely.
like Jabez, the Lord will enlarge your little become plenty. And so,
Amen.
no, I think sometimes, yeah, it's okay because it's true. Sometimes, through no fault of the individual, it may seem to you've done everything you need to do. But once you have somebody who can be objectively honest with you, to also give you that quote unquote feedback,
Mm,
and they can affirm that indeed maybe A, B, C, no, but you've done everything. Sometimes it's all about, okay, now instead of always looking for the opportunity from others,
mm.
it's all about making that opportunity for yourself,
Wow.
about
Wow.
creating that opportunity. And then you might be the one now handing out those opportunities to others.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Wow, thank you so much, Dr. Bright. And I like it when our conversations tie into various conversations that we talked about in season one on Hour of Healing. I truly believe that season one of Hour of Healing was to set the foundation for a lot of the conversations that we will have. And so I know you talked about success a bit in there, and the one thing that I remember I asked our audience in season one was, "Is your good paying job the
Mm-hmm.
measure of
Mm-hmm.
success?"
Mm-hmm.
And so, in other words, if you're making money and
Right.
you're not fulfilling your purpose, which you
Right.
alluded to in the beginning of this conversation, then are you really being successful?
Right.
And so I think it's very powerful and interesting that these conversations certainly are tying in there. And also, one thing that you had mentioned, and it goes to also a life principle of mine, and that is no matter what happens in life, God has designed this world in a way that no matter what you are doing or where you are going, it is bound that you will meet opportunities in your life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, the biggest challenge, the biggest challenge, I think, becomes what sometimes we do with that opportunity. And so that will be where I will want us to take our final question. That once you have realized the opportunity, unfortunately, not everybody in my opinion, uses their opportunities for good. So, what do we do with opportunities once we have done our homework, once we have found it? Because somebody may hear what we saying and say, "Oh, that girl that I always wanted, I will just go and that might not be the best one." So, how do we apply, or what do we do really with opportunities so that it can become a success for both ourselves and the world at large?
So I think with opportunity, that the simple answer would be to take advantage of it in a
Mm,
good way. But the way we do that, I think sometimes also good counsel is very important.
mm,
Counsel is very, very important. That's why I think for most, or basically almost every successful person, they have the body that counsels them. When you're thinking of taking advantage of an opportunity, it's worth always running by that one or two people, the trusted people that you seek their counsel. They'll be objective and honest with you, and bounce that off. But once you realize now it's time to get to work.
mm,
Now the excuses are kind of on the back burner
mm.
because now it's your time to shine. It's your
Absolutely.
time to do and be the best you can in that. And so, we all look for it. But sometimes, even when we're in the opportunity, we hold back.
Yes.
Even when we've got what it is we're asking for, we hold back. And so, one of the things I've learned, like you talk about that young man going to speak to that young lady, they might see the opportunity. Well, then they get married to that same person. And then guess what?
They don't do
They
the
forget
work.
their whole job was to be the best they can
Mm,
to their partner. And so I think once you realize that when you take it, you have to understand the work and do the work.
mm, mm.
One of the simplest measure to me of almost all successful people is one thing: consistency.
Mm,
I think that's the key for a lot of successful people in anything, just about. It's consistency. Whether it comes to dieting, whether it comes to finances, whether it comes to a lot of people start, but they don't finish.
mm,
That's why even scripture says the race is not for the swift.
mm.
You wanted that opportunity, that opportunity, that opportunity. You go in day one, you expect everything to come down, work. No. It's about the consistency and the diligence, the discipline
Yes.
to remain dedicated and work at it.
Mm,
And in any endeavor, the fact that you want to be the best musician and God dreamt you that, yeah, now you have an opportunity to go sing for the biggest star in the world, doesn't mean you're going to be a success. Now you have to put the work in.
mm,
You may have to
mm.
wake up early, you might have to do your rehearsals. There's a work that comes with it. As all the scriptures, whatever your hands find doing, do it to the best of your ability.
Mm,
I think that's a key part. And sometimes, unfortunately, those of us Christians sometimes excuse hard work with,
mm, mm.
faith. No, he's a just God. So we also have to put that work in. So the way you take it, but you have to do the work. You have to be willing to put the work in, but be consistent.
Absolutely.
I think the blessings that others come from God, but you have to be able to earn the right to become successful, because that's how, when you're put in a position, you know what, you're a mirror image or for others watching you. And so all those things count.
Yeah.
It's look at you, you wake up, say on the weekend, most people will be up, lying down with their feet up, drinking, watching. You put hours in doing interviews, editing, doing all of that. You put the work in. And so that's what I think it's important that once we have the opportunity, once we have it, we take advantage of it in the right way by doing the work and then
Wow.
leave the rest to God.
Wow. Thank you so much, Dr. Bright AJ. Again, dear listeners, you're listening to us on Hour of Healing, and we're talking about evaluating opportunities today. And I am very humbled by all those kind words from our guest today. But he is a brother. He knows my heart. He knows that all I want to do is really to reflect the one who gave me life, and that is Jesus. But I think that your answer to that question, Dr. J, is really what I was trying to get to. And sometimes it's as though we do prep these behind the scenes.
Oh, that's
Because
funny.
I asked that because I think one of the things that really hurt our generation is an arrival mentality, that we do everything we can to get that opportunity, to marry that person in our example, to get that job. But then we approach the work or the job that we have to do with a very lackadaisical attitude.
Right.
We come in late, we make excuses to take
Right.
time off, and so I think that once you have gotten the opportunity, like you said, it doesn't mean that you have arrived. It doesn't mean that the work is done. In all honesty, I think it actually means that there is more work to be done, because
Oh yeah.
if someone had done the work, there wouldn't be that opportunity for you
Opportunity for
to
you.
come
No.
do it.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for where you went with that answer. And again, that was where I was going with that question. So
Well,
I'm very
the
thankful
Spirit
to
of the Lord
God.
is at work.
Yes, I'm very thankful to God that He pushed you in that direction. Before we finish up our conversation today, I would again give the platform over to Dr. Ajay for him to go over a few of the things that he has discussed with us graciously. Again, he has talked about writing goals down, knowing the pros and cons of opportunities, measuring, having a measure of opportunities, and also an accountability person. I think that is so important. Dr. Ajay, any closing ideas or thoughts or advice that will help our listeners again continue to receive their healing as we conclude this topic?
So I think for a lot of us, we have to go to the drawing board and come back to the basics in terms of what do we stand for. If
Mm,
somebody thinks of me, what do I stand for? If
mm,
somebody thinks of you, what do you stand for? And because that's what will shape us and our
mm,
steps,
mm,
And so we might have different things, but I think that's so fundamental, but so important that
mm.
a lot of us don't do.
Wow.
A lot of us just replicate everything that goes on around us. We just kind of keep going through the motions. No, but we are
Mm,
all individuals in our own right. And God has given us different abilities and talents and blessings to be able to reflect who He is. And so I think it's very, very important in all of these, because any of these should tie into who we are, what we stand for, what we are about.
mm.
And so I think as an individual, that's probably one of the best places that I hope when others listen to, they can go back to, you know. And I always say, we all can make a difference. I mean, we
Mm.
all interact with several people daily. We all have different reach. And so we should not underestimate the power of God through us, what can be done.
Wow.
And so, wherever it is, it's all about the whole thing with the hour of healing. It's all about resetting. You forget about what was yesterday and
Correct.
then just start from today going. And so, even as we evaluate opportunity, the opportunity is available for us today, here and now, to do
Mm.
something. It's not always about looking for opportunities to be handed to us, but also about us also providing opportunities. And
Absolutely.
it may be the opportunity to just bring someone into the fold of Christ. What do we have? What are we about that we can also bless others with? And so, with that, hopefully, may the Lord bless us. May we be able to practicalize what we've learned, and we'll continue to live to give glory to Him. Thank you
Wonderful.
for having me again.
Thank you so much. Again, ladies and gentlemen, this was Dr. Bright Ajay joining us on our conversation on evaluating opportunities. Friends, Dr. Bright Ajay has said it all. And I can't end this podcast, dear listener, without talking about one of the great opportunities that daily we have in our lives, and that is the opportunity to build relationships, as Dr. Brighter J talked about. In the book of Proverbs, it says that in the absence of counselors, there is failures, and there is war, and there is defeat. But in the multitude of counselors, there is safety. And I think Dr. Bright actually does hit the nail on the head when he talks about that accountability person. But I also want to talk with you briefly and mention, because the fact is, relationships are good, but the greatest relationship that anyone can build is not only a relationship that can impact your earthly life, but also your eternal future. And so we cannot talk about evaluating opportunities without mentioning this to you, my dear listener. And I'm talking to you, my dear listener, about building a relationship with Jesus, the person who is able to give you an eternal hope. I believe that that is the greatest thing that would ever happen to anyone. He will walk with you in times of failures, in times of disappointment. He will fight your battles for you. He will triumph for you. And so, again, friends, evaluate the opportunities that you have in life, as we have talked about, but don't neglect the opportunity you have, if you haven't taken advantage of this very moment, to be able to make Jesus the partner that you do life with. And I believe that you will be blessed for it. Again, this has been Hour of Healing, and we are trusting and believing God that through our conversation, as we do each and every week, He will give you the healing that you so desperately need. Friends, if you have any questions or comments for us, again, we will employ that you leave those questions and comments for us on our YouTube videos or on our Facebook page. God bless you so much for joining us. And again, thank you. We will see you same time next week. Bye bye.